had different ceremonies like the winter solstice and various other ceremonial, ritualistic things that were based on the cycles of the stars and the cycles of the planet. And so when the Masons, Europeans, got amongst us and studied these things, they co-opted some of those things, and now your Thanksgiving and Christmas celebration is actually based on indigenous, Moorish, and Egyptian sciences. And so we did a whole presentation on that.
Before he goes fully in, I want to do an introduction. I do this very specifically because some of you may know him, some of you may not, but if you don't, I'm still going to do the introduction every time because it's just appropriate. So just real quick, for those of you that may or may not know, I just want to introduce you to an individual I have just a great deal of respect for. And the reason why I have the respect is because you watch people for what they do, but not only what they do, but you watch their heart and see where the heart leads. And one of the things is that for this gentleman to take time out to have an idea, but not just have the idea, but take and put it in a fashion that's now transferable to others, where they can take it and utilize it in a fashion that's efficient for their life energy and help you then move forward in that way. So for those of you that may or may not know him, this gentleman started a nation called Aboriginal Republic of North America, right here out of the Philadelphia area that we call Sheckamexim. And so he's been leading a charge for some time. He actually, used to have a school for children. Claire Muhammad?
No, Muhammad's Islamic Academy.
Muhammad
is 3 through 17.
And Muhammad Islamic Academy. So he's been in the field working within grassroots for some time, just really doing some amazing things. And so I had a chance to meet him within, I guess, about 3 years now, and just sat back for the first 2 years just gleaning and just taking notes. And as you guys always say, I say have pen and pad. You want to take some copious notes. I'm going to share with you. You want to pull out a pen and pad, take some copious notes, because trust me, the information that's going to be shared with you is going to be mind-blowing, astounding, and you're going to want to be able to do the research. But the only way you can research what you hear is if you write it down, because you'll forget. So with that, definitely want to introduce you to Dr. Ali Muhammad.
Yes, thank you.
Peace God. Peace God.
Give it up for Brother Troy.
Yes, sir.
Well, holding down Sheckamexim. Holding down the fort, always. I'm just trying to load back up to what we were just talking to, so I'm going to take a moment to get this guy rolling. How many people are here for their first time? Never been here in this class? Okay, welcome. All right, we do these classes on Sunday. These classes are ran by the International Indigenous Society, which is a human rights institute founded to do studies on indigenous people and to help operate so that we can assist ourselves at learning how structurally to solve the problems in the said black community. All right. So I'm going to load up some things because we started this conversation about talking about the importance of this time. All right. So when you go out here, people are celebrating Christmas, and families are coming together, and they're spending time. They're eating. They're watching some football. They're seeing cousins and people who they never seen. People is that at higher levels of society, there and who understand and are clear about how these so-called holidays originated with indigenous people's holy periods and holy days. So I want to show you some things just based on science. Adults in the society and activity, the more self-aware we are, and as the original people of the planet, we need to understand that all signs, symbols, and rituals actually come from us. And other groups of people have borrowed and sometimes stolen those rites, rituals, and histories, and then they put a different spin on it.
Yes, sir.
So because we don't recognize the energies, we give away our energy. We give away our money, we give away our attention, which is our most precious thing, and then we start giving these things away, we wonder, well, where's the energy going? We gave it away because we didn't own it. All right? So we want to help you own it. So let's open this up just a little bit wider so the folk can see us. We should be live now. Yeah, we are live again. All right, let me take down this chat, and then we can kind of move forward. That's more. Now Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prove that George, I already did this lecture, so if you want to go back and look at this whole lecture, I'm not going to do it over again. The lecture that I did on Monday was called The Grinch That Stole Ramadan. And it wasn't just about Ramadan, it was just about Egyptian, Moorish, and ancient American science amongst black people across the planet to show how they venerated and why they venerated the winter solstice time period in December. And I also showed that it was Masons who understood this information and understood the energy of the time and decided amongst themselves to co-opt it and use it to their advantage. All right? So what I want to do is see if I can get to my, there we go. Keep that. Get to my slides, there we go. Make this a little bit smaller. Usually when you're opening up like this, it gets a little complicated. Can everybody see the screen though? It's clear to you?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right.
It's a little off the screen on that side. You need to be brought back
Yeah,
over.
there we go.
Maybe it says, move it, yes, sir, there we go. Yes, sir, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to show you, right? I'm going to prove to you, I'm going to help you understand science and mathematics and earth energy, all right? And then we're going to give you some sources on it, and then you can go back and watch this video that I did on Monday on our YouTube page. Again, for those who are just coming in, the YouTube page is Aboriginal Global Media.
Do we have any of those books up there?
Well, yeah, some of the information is in the Lost Pages of Islam, Volume 2. All right, so if anybody wants to get some of that information, this book is $50. It's a 473-page dissertation on Moorish history. All right, so you can get the sources and do that. Thank you for that, Elder. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Reminding me of that. All right, so let's see if we can find this. There we go. Now we're going to open up. This is a software. It's called Stellarium. All right, it is an astronomy software. You can open the software up at any time online and download it, all right, to your computer, and then you can study the stars, literally, all right? You can study the planet, all right? So this is our time now. I'm going to go through some of this. You can see this is down here, December 27, 2015. All right, we're at 1:16 p.m. And you see a whole bunch of things that's going on here. So I'm going to go back a little bit. I'm going to rewind. I'm going to rewind to November 26th. All right, November 26th, around that date is usually Thanksgiving. All right, and it was George Washington who inaugurated Thanksgiving as a national holiday. All right, George Washington was a Mason. All right. And if you don't know what that is, we're going to help you understand what that is. And so from November 26th, we go from Thanksgiving to the next day being what? Black Friday. Then we go from Black Friday to the spending through the holidays, all the buying and all that stuff. Then we get all the way to the big one, which is Christmas. All right? And then we go from Christmas into New Year, and then we start this whole energy about resolutions. Anybody know what the word resolution means?
It means to be sure, be certain.
Right, resolute is the word. And then you have the word re, which means again, and salute. All right? Like solving a problem. All right? Like a solution.
Yes.
All right? And you think about law, resolutions are made by bodies that represent people to establish laws. So we do our New Year's resolution.
Yes.
And all of it is based on all of this energy. So it's a whole lot of money being spent.
Oh, yeah.
Money is currency, currency is energy. All is family love. All of this is an energy that existed before Christmas. Because the energies come from the universe and it affects the planet to create vibrations of up and down. Literally. All right? Just like your body. You go to sleep at night because your body requests that you go to sleep to gain energy, right? To heal the body. It secretes a hormone, melatonin, so that you can go through that circadian rhythm. And then another hormone starts secreted when the sun starts to rise. And if you're pretty healthy, you start to get up when you hear the birds. If you're a little, you need a little bit more kick, more fuel.
Oh, yeah.
But you get up during the day.
Yeah.
Another circadian rhythm. We go through these rhythms all through. Organs go through these rhythms. The earth goes through these rhythms. The sun, the whole universe. And so, I want to show you what's happening during this time. So I'm gonna go back to November 26th. All right. Let me take my view up a little bit so it won't be so far down when I rewind. Let's go a little bit faster. All right, so I'm going to go back to November 26th. How deeply involved Europeans have been with black culture, science, and history, and how uninvolved most of our people are, because we're really involved in what they think is powerful, but they're involved in what your people thought and did was powerful. All right? And if you get involved in what your people thought and did was powerful, you'll see changes in your community. And until you do, you won't see changes in your community, because all of it deals with how you manage your energy. Okay? All right, so let's move a little bit forward. Let's go to sunrise on November 26th. That was about 6 something. All right, so let's go back a little bit. Now you keep the time now. Now this has nothing to do with anybody's religion. It has nothing to do with anybody's opinion. P-H-I-U-C-U-U-S. Now again, why are we studying stars? Well, stars have to be important, because if we didn't have our local star, you would not be alive. So stars are important. They're important to earth energy. They're important to life, period. Right? This constellation is worshipped by Masons. Why? Not only is this constellation worshipped by Masons, all right, around this time, they venerated it for a particular purpose. So you see the date down here, November 26, 2015, around sunrise. This constellation is rising on the horizon. Due east, exactly at 90 degrees. You ever heard a Mason say stand on your square at 90 degrees?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Awesome, doctor.
They're talking in code. And that discipline moves them from the code of the discipline in Masonic science to how they deal with themselves, commerce, and all other things.
Yes, sir.
So they're unified. They talk
Yes,
to
sir.
each other. They plan based on science,
Yes, sir.
based on psychology of people. These are the things that you have to begin to adapt in order to make your life a little bit better. That is called life discipline. It has nothing to do with watching MTV or YouTube to figure out whether Nicki Minaj's new record is better than Lil Kim in the 90s or the 2000s. All right? And so I'm going to help you see this. Now I'm showing you the star signs first, just so you can get an idea where this is actually coming from. You're going to be breathing, you're going to be feeling the earth energy, because you cannot live without those things. And this is where the conversation is going. So, at the same time that you have that going on, you can go to the west, back up a little bit so you can see to sunrise. Just back up a little bit. And you have this star right here setting. Now, this star is the most important star study for people, indigenous Africans, indigenous Americans, people of Asia, the black people of the planet. It's called Sirius. When you study Dogon history, they talk all about Sirius. When you study Egyptian history, they talk about Saptek. When you study Moorish history, they talk about Al-Shirah. All right? So this star, when you talk about ancient Olmec Mayan civilizations, they talk about this star, and the calendars are based on this star. Why? Simply because you can they follow their Ramadan based on the moon calendar count. And you can find this right in your Quran or any of your other literature. And so you have 1 billion people confused because they don't know, they know belief. And so they put their money, they put their resources, they even put their mind behind belief. And there's nothing wrong with the system, all right? All of this is just about knowing how to read and becoming literate in culture so it can benefit you in the now. There are too many people that are following beliefs that are not benefiting them in the now.
Right.
And as the original people that founded all of these things, if we knew them really, we would be united. So what we're really arguing about is how a bunch of foreigners who have taken what we created and confused it. So nothing wrong with you being any particular thing. It's just you need to know the origin of it. And then you can function based on why it was founded in the first place. Systems are founded to secure people in real life. That's it. Not to have jihads against fake things. Alright? And so, write this star down because this will be part of your Christmas study. Because the whole holiday of Christmas is based on theft of indigenous history. From focus, these were energy reattunements. Alright? These were things that we did to get ourselves in line for the coming energy of another cycle. Or self-aware that we were doing these things. New Year's resolution. Wall Street is where what? The place where all the signatures are going.
Right.
The money.
Like
Every contract that you sign, bill or whatever, is supported by a bond company that is using your signature for collateral and currency, energy. Because they understand energy and psychology of people. They're just using it to enslave people. So we need to come from under this type of slavery. But going back to this, 1775, John Hancock, received a name and was what? Naturalized by a black tribe here. Now, William Penn was the one that called it a black tribe. I didn't call it that. You can go to the Free Society of Traders. That's the source. And he said that these people were a black tribe. Now, ask yourself something about how school is structured. School is structured to create various types of psychologies in people and in the society as a whole. And don't think that the people who set it up have not factored in your propensity to rebellion. They factor that part in. That must be factored in. Right. Because if it's not factored in, then we can't play chess. We're going to be playing checkers, and these people are not playing checkers.
No. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so your rebellion can be also used. And if you're not funding the institutions and understanding the indigenous mechanics of how to define words, terms, and reality, then you can always be controlled. And so you have never went to any school, any lecture that showed you that these people gave this flag and what was the importance of having this imagery here. All right? What was the importance of it? It's called the continental flag for a reason. This tree,
cedar tree.
Right, this tree, a conifer, evergreens and different types, are trees that do what? That do not die.
They stay green year round.
They can survive through winter. And what is it in them that allows them to survive through a winter time period? See, you got to be an environmental scientist to understand that. What's happening during winter is that the ionic charge in the atmosphere is changing from negative to positive. But they tell you to be positive. And so because there are more protons in the electrical sphere and the earth is turning away from the sun, then the deciduous trees drop their leaves as a cyclical cycle to refurbish themselves when they get that charge back. So the leaves are dropping. The trees are looking like they're dying. They're going through a cycle. All right? And there's an increase of nitrogen in the atmosphere, which is an electrical destabilizer for melanin dominant people. Okay. And so this tree, the tree of life and the tree of good and evil, indigenous peoples have always venerated trees as a symbol of life. Now let's just be simple. Without trees, you wouldn't be alive.
True.
That's how you're getting your oxygen. That's the basis of it. Then you're getting your vegetation. Why the gifts are laid at the bottom. Why there's a star at the top of the tree. All that is science. It's all your life science. And so this flag here was used as a treaty flag, all right? Because these people got naturalized on this land. And then you see other symbolism. You see, you're gonna see a larger version of this. This is this picture actually was taken down from the Blue Room at the oldest Masonic hall in America. It was taken down. And the reason why it was taken down because we took a picture of it and started showing what it meant.
Across from City Hall.
Across from City Hall.
From City Hall, yeah.
Right? So this is George Washington. It's kind of small. You get a bigger version of it. That's Benjamin Banneker standing, and that's Andrew Ellicott sitting. Rosicrucian, Scottish Rite, and then you have Benjamin Banneker, who is alleged to have memorized the plans of L'Enfant, and then some kind of way given the design, the survey design for Washington D.C. That's what you're told.
Yes.
Because you don't know astronomy, and you don't know Benjamin Banneker. All right.
Big Ben.
And so now, if you know the history of why Banneker was arguing with Thomas Jefferson over the identity of black people, because Jefferson was like, these people are inferior. He said, well, if they're inferior, then I'm inferior, but I'm smarter than you. Basically, that's how he came at it. All right. So then you have George Washington down here again. All right, with Prince, someone who they call him Prince Whipple. Sometimes they call him Primus Hall, the son of Prince Hall. So it's a whole bunch of symbolism. All right, and then you got the Grinch. Anybody see this 1957 movie, The Grinch Who Stole Christmas?
Yes.
That's them. They're the Grinch.
Oh.
The white folks. They're the real Grinch. See, they flipped it on you. It's psychological. They stole it, meaning they stole the meaning of it. They stole the history of it. They stole the symbols of it. Because they were angry because they don't have any history and heritage. But now they got you following theirs. All right? And then you got the science of the flag, the 13 stars, 13 stripes. All of this is indigenous symbolism. I'm about to show you a little bit of it. Now, like I said, I already did this lecture, so I don't have to go over it, but I'll go over some preliminary points. This is Thomas Jefferson. This is who your children are made to honor on President's Day for writing the Declaration of Independence. He's venerated. This is educational menticide. Look at what he says about black people. The blacks, whether originally a distinct race or made distinct by time and circumstances, are inferior to the whites in the endowments both of body and mind. That's his opinion about you. So why are you writing book reports on Thomas Jefferson? That would be like a Jewish person writing a book report on Adolf Hitler.
Right.
That wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense. We only do it because we've been whitewashed. Look, this is Taya Denaga, a Mohawk chief from the UPenn Library, showing his melanin. This is what the white folks painted him in Europe. This is how they made him look in Europe when he went to Europe in 1710. They made him look British. This is how he actually looked though. All right? With the feathers. And these are his other Mohawk counterparts. These are paintings from Dan Barrowless. Look how you can't even see him. This is the Mohawk. So it is our position that black people have been on all continents, on every part of the planet, since the planet was here. And so they want to make us think we came from somewhere else. We didn't come from nowhere else. You came from somewhere else.
It was already here, huh?
You're the foreigner. How can we be foreign anywhere on our own earth? And so the practical part of this is that every black organization or indigenous organization needs an indigenous framework. That's what we are attempting to impart upon you. So whether you're part of honor or not, we can put you in the right framework in your own home businesses, in your greater businesses, in your school frameworks, so you can preserve your own energy. That's it. That's the equation. Energy in the form of mind and body. Assets, property, money. Because it's all based on equations. And get this Grinch off your back. So look, check out your boy. Check out your boy. There he is. There he is. On his square. With his apron on. Come on now. What is he about to do? He's about to start Thanksgiving. That's what he's about to do. What date is he going to start Thanksgiving on? All right, let's read it. This is his Thanksgiving proclamation.
What date is it?
I'm going to give it to you.
Oh, my bad.
General Thanksgiving. And you know it's original because they're still using the F coming from the Latin
Right.
for the S's.
Right.
All right, that's how they wrote during that time period. All right, they didn't use the S in certain words. So, General Thanksgiving. By the President of the United States of America, a proclamation where it is in the duty of all nations to acknowledge the providence of Almighty God, to obey His will, to be grateful for His benefits, and humbly to implore His protection and favor. And whereas both houses have by their joint, let me read it from here so I can see it better. Their joint committee requested me to recommend to the people of the United States a day of public thanksgiving and prayer, to be observed by acknowledging with grateful hearts the many and signal favors of Almighty God, especially by affording them an opportunity peaceably to establish a form of government. Keep this in mind now. For their safety and happiness. Now, therefore, I do recommend and assign Thursday, the 26th day of November.
Oh, that night they all do.
In conjunction with this constellation. Now, I'm going to go back to you and read something from the Congress. The 26th of November next to be devoted by the people of these states to the service of that great and glorious being who is beneficent author of all the good that was, that is, or that will be, that we may then all unite in rendering unto him our sincere and humble thanks for his kind care and protection of the people of this country previous to becoming a nation. November 26, 1789. All right, November 26. Now, let's go back and read my first slide. This is what the Congress had to say about the formation of government since he mentioned it. Let's read it. It's right here above the thing, kind of small, but I put the quote here, all right? And if anybody wants to download this presentation, I'll upload it to our website, which I'll give to you so you can download it and teach your children this. Woo-hoo. All right, you can take the presentation, download it to your computer, and use it. Tell your child to do a book report on Christmas. Be careful, he might be coming to our school next year. All right. So look at what it says right here from the Journals of Continental Congress. That the flag of the United States be 13 stripes, alternate red and white. That the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field, representing a what? A new constellation.
The blue room.
A constellation is a group of stars. What does the formation of government and the flags have to do with a new constellation? I told you what the constellation was. I showed it to you.
Right.
All right? It's Ophiuchus. All right? The 13th constellation. And so, what is George Washington trying to say? Check this out. I'm going to blow your mind. With this one, George Washington is trying to say, we about to steal your God. Which is your energy.
Right. Right.
Away at you. And so now, indigenous people don't know how to venerate God. They're venerating all kind of stuff. They got all kind of idols. All right? They got all kind of idols. And so, going back to this conversation on him, let's look at it. Look at what they did. On April 19, 1775, they started the Revolutionary War with the moon in constellation. Now they're starting wars based on astronomical energies to be in their favor. Let me show it to you so you can see it a little bit better. That's what the symbol. That's the same thing. April 19, 1775, they started the Revolutionary War on star time.
Let me put it cut up.
Really?
So my point is, we like to talk about white people, you know. Give him credit for what he did. He took what you used to do.
That's what I'm talking
Don't get
about.
mad at him.
Oh no.
You are angry.
Right. You can't knock that hustle.
He stole this, he stole that. He stole. Well, you go, steal it back.
Yeah, right.
And it won't be theft, it'll be returning stolen property.
Exactly. Right. Just what it is. Damn.
So what are you willing to study? How much time are you willing to stay up? What will your conversation be like? What type of business are you going to have a discussion about? Because you're not going to win until you have this discussion. You'll be complaining. You'll be on Section 8. You'll be on Section 5. You'll be on SNAP, WIC. When they cut that out, you'll be eating dirt.
Damn.
Coming to it.
Till you accept who you are.
Look at the Haitian.
And look, it's not a curse. White people try to tell you that you curse.
Oh,
They
oh,
implant that.
Yeah, sir.
All right?
Uh-huh.
The only curse black people can ever have is not living by their own systems. Because you had enough teachers to come teach it to you. So if you choose out of your own to reject what has been brought to you by all of these teachers, sisters and brothers, it's restored, but after it's restored and you willingly choose to reject it, my people, all right, who have rejected knowledge, all right? Listen, Hosea, what's that, Hosea? I forget the actual verses.
For lack of knowledge, people will be destroyed.
Right, exactly. For lack of knowledge, the people will be destroyed. Listen. And because you have rejected knowledge, you will not be priests to me or leaders to me. So now we can't lead our homes, we can't lead our communities because we're following after somebody else's false formulas, and behind the closed blue door, they got all of this going on. All right? So we're not having to, look at the flag. Tyson's first flag. Don't tread on me, a serpent. They was behind the blue veil. Yeah, these are the flags. This is Franklin's first flag. Bring them together, or you're going to die. But this is our stuff. Apologize. Child support, or encumbrances and debts around you, placed by just trying to say Black Lives Matter. And we're going to make Black Lives Matter. Literally. All right? Because we understand energy. And if you understand energy, you can make matter.
We shot one yesterday in Chicago.
Yeah. If you're in debt, you need to understand that we have methods to assist you. First of all, I use myself for this. I've been studying finance for the last 15 years in this way. To figure out nobody should be broke if you have the most energy on the planet. Melanin dominant people have the most energy, so therefore they should be the other people to pay. And you can go to pay. Start on 171. Anybody ever got a they take it out and they make securities out of it. And on the statutes. Now you say, well, that's hustling backwards. How do they make laws and don't follow it? I'm about to show you how they do this. So you can stop window dressing. Because the idea is, we're a democracy. And behind it, we are authoritarian, we're Nazis. But we got to dress it up to make it look like a certain way, because we know niggas don't read anyway.
Right.
That's right.
None of them. The white niggas, the black niggas, none of them. None of them read.
They got them too, ain't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm not disrespecting anybody in here because I know you read, right?
Right.
So now they do the window dressing. Yeah, we'll write laws to protect them, but they don't read it, so we don't got to protect them until they invoke them. So now you have to become literate, and you have to communicate with each other to share the ideas of how to get out of problems. So now we know how to get out of these problems. What do we do? See, and this is a greater part of the issue. This is about understanding energy in the universe.
Yes, sir.
If you want a solar system, everybody that's a part of the business network. Now you don't got to go ask all that money. Municipal services building, Secretary of State,
Right.
can stay home. That's execute a goal because your daddy wasn't there. somebody raped you, somebody black disappointed you, all coming back to power. It has to be based on. Or in the high six figures at rudimentary.
I think that what I'm seeing is, you have a lot of people who have knowledge, various degrees of knowledge that that you were talking about, and they feel like it's a matter of paperwork or a matter of I don't know, going in there trying to talk slick or something, and they don't have the proficiency and the mindset outside of the paperwork. The paperwork doesn't do anything without the mindset to back it.
Right. Absolutely. That's a big problem. And that goes into discipline. See, culture sets the standard for everything.
Right.
And you can see people who have knowledge who have no culture.
Right.
And we have to be proficient in our own energy space, and then understand what we're doing, and then everything has an order. You know what I mean? Get the proficiency that we need, exchange that proficiency, and then let it help us. Because at the root of all of this is us solving our own problems, not just here but globally. All right, that's it. And we have the ability to do it. We've proven we have the capacity to do it, and we are doing it. Other questions? Any other questions? Yes, sir. Brother Charles.
My question to you is this: when you were in college, was your appellation the same as when you changed when you were?
When I graduated from Temple, and in 2001, I changed my name to Ali Muhammad, and so I went back and got all my degrees back in my name, in my indigenous name. You know what I mean? So when they wrote me in the new name. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But it was because I made a slip up in putting certain documentation at that time on the post office application for the P.O. box, which is cool. You know what I mean? I don't run from them anyway. I'm not running from you. Come find me. Come find me. I got a lot of ammo. And so they found me 12 years later, but instead of the bill being one way, they had balloon security number that someone can give you to try to create a new credit file, right. A new line of credit. And what usually happens is it only works with one of the credit bureaus, or they might trimer it and get it to B3, all right? But if you ever get into a judicial situation and you come up, you got a CPN, you're going to get a fraud charge against you. If it becomes judicial. If it stays administrative, then you can slide around. But you don't want to use CPNs.
And can you break down CPN?
Right, CPN is a it got different acronyms for it, but it's basically a credit profile number.
Okay.
All right. Sometimes they say consumer profile number,
Right.
or whatever. So if you see the acronym, you might see different explanations for it. But basically, it's people who get certain numbers. They can access certain numbers, and so they sell you a CPN.
So is that the consumer people? Where do you get that from?
You can get that from anywhere. But if someone can take the CPN, I'm telling you, do your research first and don't accept it. Because if you get into a judicial situation where the debt, if you're dealing with trade lines, make sure you deal with someone who's not trying to offer. And but they should be selling trade lines. All you need to do is understand your indigenous rights, and they go proclaim, and they learn how to operate business from there. So all these lengthy processes about gaining the birth certificate and then getting the money is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. All right? You don't have the software to access it. You know what I mean? You don't have. It's not. You know what I mean? The people who are moving these particular things are moving it based on human capital. Human capital is the potential worth of the society and the psychological grooming of the child to invest in the society.
Right.
So that's a forward projection that money is going to be made by the child once they start working. They're going to work at Hardee's, they're going to work at churches. They're gonna start getting taxes taken, Social Security. That's a forward investment. States bonds, securities, based on the level of psychological control that the people they have over the people. That's what the investment is really about. And so that's what the drama is really about, because they're losing that psychological investment because people are waking up, and so now they need something to scare you. Voila, ISIS, Al Qaeda. They take the name of a black woman in the Phoenician context, but still ISIS, and make it terror. All right, we need to understand what's going on.
Little gorilla babies.
Exactly. So, it's constantly this influence. And then you say ISIS around black people, they running from you.
Don't they?
Like, how fast did that change? You used to say ISIS around black people, and they're looking up like, peace, hotep, Islam, stop, whatever. So, now you say ISIS, niggas is running from you. In just a few years. So it shows the level of psychological control that can be implemented through fear. And so that's what the controlling the human capital is about. It's about keeping the people afraid of the government, not letting them understand they are the government, and the power for everything to run. And so if they don't understand that they're the power, then of course they just fall into one of these categories, and they start believing in stuff. They want to get back, right? Like I said, they calculated your rebellion. So now you're trying to authenticate the birth certificate that they own to get the money. And now you're writing checks and bonds and all kind of other things, and it's like, just keep going that way. Then you get the knock. Then you call me. Can I get an affidavit? Can I get a writ? Can I get something? They knocked on my door. Who knocked on your door? Homeland Security. It's like, man, be a ninja, be a samurai, be effective and quiet. You know what I mean? I wish I didn't have to stand up here and do this, but somebody got to be in the public a little bit. But you ain't got to be. You can be a ninja. You know what I mean? Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned earlier about in reference to this presentation that you were going to upload, I guess, information onto,
Yes.
I guess, YouTube. What is that site that I can?
Okay. Well, two things.
download?
Two things. The YouTube page is called Aboriginal Global Media. So when you go to YouTube, you can just put in Aboriginal, ABORIGINAL, Aboriginal Global Media, and it'll go straight to our page, and then you can watch the video that I did on the whole Christmas thing and all of that. And you can watch this too, because it'll be safe.
That's on YouTube.
That's on YouTube now. And then the second thing, if you want this presentation that I did, the PowerPoint, just to help your children, you can go to government reparations together.org, and then you can go to the study link, and then I'll make sure I upload it when I leave here.
Government reparations.
And so you can get the PowerPoint. So if you got PowerPoint on your computer, you can download it, and you can teach the Christmas stuff, to your children. And we want to hurry up and get out of here.
For those individuals that did not give a donation, we do request a $10 donation for those that can. And also, I wanted to ask if you could take a second. With the UCC1, how does that? What does that do specifically relative to that whole?
Well, first, the UCC stuff is just out of control. People think they can become secure party creditor over their straw man and all. That's all fake. It's all fake. I mean, you can have a discussion with me in private or in public. It's fake. All right, you're not becoming the secure party over anything. If you have a legitimate contract, like we use it for trust, all right, what you're doing is you're saying that you have priority over the property in a legitimate contract. Security agreement, trust, or something like that, and you're putting on the record so that if a dispute comes up, you can use the UCC1 document is a notice. That's all it is. It's a notice of the collateral, the property, the things that you own. So the thought that people had is that they could own their straw man and then do some kind of crazy stuff with their straw man. That's not even necessary. All you have to do is set up a trust, and you could have a legal and lawful function to carry out those types of processes without trying to do. I mean, all these processes were created by white Christians to get back at their white brothers. And so in the 70s and 80s, they started this militant movement, the militia movements, and they brought this whole straw man thing out, and then we were studying it, and I studied it first, and I was all involved in it, and I found out it was all fake. And so, we have to understand that our black people, this is our basic grievance is that we lost our culture and the ability to do business based on our own indigenous identity. And that's what we should strive for. And all the rest is for it. And all it's going to be is a reworking of something old. Because all this stuff is really old. 17 years ago, we've seen the same thing. This is going on.
But to be clear, the Uniform Commercial Code is real.
The Uniform Commercial Code is a real governing code that applies to all 50 states. So people who deal in finance is to use it as a notice. So if your property is ever obstructed, you have a notice that says that it has a certain value, and you can communicate that to the party that obstructed. Let's say I'm walking with my nationality card down the street, he like, this fake, I'm taking it, let's go get you print. And he take me down, he run my prints or whatever, and do all this stuff. You're not who you say you are. Now the society's supposed to come to your aid and say, yes, he is who he says he is, yes, she is, this is the proof. Do that through what's called a letters rogatory. It's an international document